What's up, y'all? I'm in bed, right? It's kind of like the luxury of being at home, right? Not like in class or in a chair, whatever. So, let's do a little history. I'm started here. Skipped a little bit of the intro.
While we were doing the roulette project, our friend Rob Shaw came over and said, I just found out about this amazing thing of chaos. So we went up to the lab and we looked at the simulation on the analog computer, and we were just amazed because you could see that even though there were deterministic equations, it was making this random looking set of patterns on the screen. And so we got completely fascinated by that, and we created algorithms for identifying patterns in nature that are described by chaotic dynamics.
Doyne Farmer.
Watching these videos with y'all or posting it makes it easier to like reverb, and I'd be like, how does he talk about all this stuff? Like, what facts, what foundation is he speaking from? How is he so confident? Like, I have all this stuff to like back me up.
Devotes himself to studying patterns that allow predictions to be made. One of his areas of study is meteorology. Farmer and his team in Los Alamos are able to expand the time frame for precise hurricane predictions from 2 days to 5. This gives emergency services valuable time to evacuate people in danger.
Every time I would talk about this, somebody would say, well, have you applied this to the stock market? And so I kind of got tired of saying no. Meanwhile, I heard about the efficient markets hypothesis, which says that stock markets are inherently unpredictable. It was a very popular theory at the time, and I didn't believe that. So Norman and I, once again, left. He left his job at the University of Illinois, and I left my job at Los Alamos, and we gathered with some other younger scientists and a business guy and started a company to use computers to create the stock market. This was in 1991, and we called ourselves Prediction Company.
Donc la Bourse de Paris, le Palais Brongniart, a été construit vers 1829 et les hommes, la corbeille a été remplacée par des ordinateurs vers la fin des années 80. Ça a été la cotation assistée en continu, le fameux CAC, d'où l'indice CAC 40. Et maintenant, il n'y a plus rien. En tout cas, plus rien qui concerne la bourse dans le Palais Brongniart. Tout est parti à Londres, dans la banlieue de Londres, à Basildon.
The Paris Stock Exchange is not the only empty shell. Even Wall Street is little more than a movie set these days. This Interaction Data Center is located in an anonymous building on the outskirts of Vienna, Austria. The company has 13 such co-location centers throughout Europe. More than 100 internet service providers, 5 internet exchanges, and important cloud services have computers stationed here, as does Vienna Stock Exchange. The exact location is kept secret, and there is no official confirmation of the presence of stock exchange computers.
Wichtig für das Geschäftsmodell, das Interaction betreibt, ist das Rechenzentrum an einem der Knotenpunkten der internationalen Datenrouten zu platzieren, um diese Community of Interest, wie wir sie nennen, optimal ausnutzen zu können. Das heißt, wir verbinden hier an unserem Standort Unternehmen miteinander, um optimal ihre Geschäfte abwickeln zu können.
Time is of the essence.
Also Geschwindigkeit spielt eine wichtige Rolle. Die Latenzzeit, die sich Kunden erwarten, bewegt sich im Millisekundenbereich, und das ist für unterschiedliche Geschäftsmodelle von Gaming bis hin zu Finanzdienstleistern ganz wesentlich.
For this reason, the Vienna
Thank you, Elon. That's all I gotta say.
Stock Exchange's most important server, over which deals are made, isn't located in Vienna at all. It is in Frankfurt. In the race to buy or sell, it's important to be as close as possible to the main server of the main stock exchange. Proximity is time, and time is money. In the 1990s, US trading is divided between the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street, with its traditional trading floor and its traditional companies such as IBM and General Motors, and the electronic stock exchange, NASDAQ.
The European markets actually went electronic first, and many of us who were part of that transition from forward to electronic markets, we kind of were groomed in the European markets first, and then we came back to the States. Matter of fact, Eurex is quite interesting to me looking back, because it was the first exchange where I found, basically a cheat to exploit. I got a lot of credit, and I got a big promotion for finding a cheat on the Eurex exchange to get prices faster than we should have. And years later, when I hit the front page of the Wall Street Journal for my whistleblowing against DirectEdge, a former colleague from Hull contacted me by email and said, "Hey, what you turned on DirectEdge is very similar to what we were doing on Eurex." And I had been a whistleblower for a year and had not really acknowledged that I was guilty of the same type of thing that I had turned in. I just hadn't equated the two. It made me realize how difficult it is for people to really see what they're doing in our industry.
When we founded Prediction Company, we didn't know anything about financial markets. Our method was to look for patterns in the data, and when we found those patterns, then we would design a trading system that would make bets based on the patterns. We learned some lessons from that. One lesson was that you've got to bet big. The stock market also, to make a good model, you don't have to predict very well. If you're right 55% of the time, if you make enough bets, then you can make a pretty good profit. And unlike roulette, where if you start to win, they can just throw you out or threaten to break your kneecaps, the stock market, they don't kick you out for just make. If you're right 55% of the time, if you make enough bets, then you can make a pretty good profit. And unlike roulette, where if you start to win, they can just throw you out or threaten to break your kneecaps, the stock market, they don't kick you out for winning. So we actually, it took us about 5 years before we really found something that genuinely worked in a consistent way. But once we did that, it worked very well. And so Prediction Company traded subsequently for about 25 years. Though I left in 1999. My goal had originally been to do it for 5 years and make some money and then go back to doing science research. It took me 8 years. So we ended up selling it to UBS in about 2006 for $100 million.
Speed is not only essential when operating a stock exchange. Investors and traders also have to react quickly. Those who are first to recognize price differences between stock exchanges can use this advantage to make a lot of money. At the turn of the millennium, the large banks realize that they are falling behind their competition. In 1999, Goldman Sachs buys the Hull Trading Company for $500 million.
Hull was supposed to become like the backbone of Goldman, and it really didn't. And it really was a very, very different culture at Goldman than at Hull. And many of the people I related to didn't feel at home.
Dissatisfied with the investment bank's business practices, a number of former Hull Trading Company employees leave Goldman Sachs. In 2003, Bodek joins UBS, which is planning to open a new trading floor in Stamford. He is tasked with creating the infrastructure from the ground up.
I remember the first time I heard about high-frequency traders, I was in an elevator with a person who's very, very senior in the business now, and he was complaining about how they would interfere with, the trading profits of the desk he was running, but that they didn't make that much money. And that was what's so interesting, is that this strategy class made a huge amount of volume, but not much money at all. And we were like, why would people do that? Why would you do all that work and make such a small profit?
Many were surprised by the rise of high-frequency trading. The financial journalist Jennifer Neal kept a close eye on developments from the very beginning.
Bien sûr, à l'époque, on était en pleine crise financière. Tout le focus des médias était sur ce qui se passait sur l'immobilier américain qui s'effondrait, tous les banques qui tombaient l'une après les autres. Ça, c'était complètement passé sous silence par la presse généraliste. On vivait aussi des temps assez délicats puisque tout le système financier menaçait de s'effondrer en fait. Mais pendant ces temps-là, en fait, paradoxalement, en 2008, il y a une société qui s'appelle Getco, qui est Trader of Frequence, qui a gagné historiquement son meilleur bénéfice cette année-là parce que ces acteurs-là, ils adorent la volatilité sur les marchés et à ce moment-là, on était à un pic de volatilité parce que les gens vendaient, achetaient de manière effrénée tellement ils avaient peur de ce qui se passait sur les marchés financiers.
Il y a une confusion qui est très souvent faite entre le trading automatique et la finance. C'est deux mondes qui sont proches mais qui n'ont rien à voir. Le trading automatique, c'est juste des programmes, des ordinateurs qui facilitent les transactions, qui les rendent moins chères, plus sûres, plus rapides. Donc c'est quelque chose qui est essentiellement bon. Lorsqu'il y a une bourse et que le public peut aller acheter et vendre en bourse, il est assuré que la différence entre le prix d'achat et le prix de vente est petit. Il est assuré que ses coûts de transaction sont faibles et que tout se passe bien.
While the explosion of high-frequency trading in the early 2000s continues, Chaim Bodek is developing new trading strategies for his employer UBS. He calls it size game. His algorithm follows a simple logic. Because large orders are given preferential treatment by the stock markets, the money bot dynamically increases its order to remain at the forefront and push out competitors. However, there is a catch. He has to ensure that the artificially inflated order never actually takes place.
If you put huge orders out there of that size and they all trade, you will go pretty much instantaneously belly up. Okay, I won't go into details, but it happened to other firms. It's a game of chicken in a way. We had to write algorithms that said, if you traded 30,000 contracts, you didn't want to trade those 30,000 contracts.
That's why I like being an individual trader, because it's like, yeah, these big firms got my long-term like retirement stuff on hold, but like for day trading, like if I put a big lot size, like who cares? Because I'm nowhere near millions, right? Hundreds of thousands. Like, I don't know, for me to hit that much, I have to be living a crazy expensive life for people to be stalking me. I'd have had someone help me before, or it glitched to where I closed the buy early and it opened another buy and it went into profit. But that was just my once freak scenario.
Tracks. So try to dump them immediately on another exchange where some other market maker is still quoting 30,000 contracts. So we created all this algorithm and this kind of war in terms of getting the largest, what we call participation rate. It turned into this horrible game of chicken and hot potato, where you quoted more than you really should in any responsible manner. And then if you actually got hit, which happened, you needed to dump it on other people before they realized that the hot potato was coming. It was as stupid as you can get. It was just stupid.
Sounds like when I'm arguing about solar panels. Like, you're gonna procrastinate. You're gonna push me off. Someone else is gonna come. You're gonna think they gave you a bad price, and they might give you a price before I get a chance to give you a price. First come, first serve.
So the algorithm that I designed was powerful enough that everybody else had to match it. And that actually brought down the market system, the market data system of the U.S. option market to the brink of like collapse, basically. And it was so cool for me. I was like, I just like literally just love this. I could see how many months it took for another firm to realize what I was doing and try to introduce the same algorithm. And it took 3 years for 7 firms to figure it out.
Chaim Bodek's size game turns him into a financial rock star. However, he knows that he can't play the game forever. It is time.
He didn't do enough cold plunges on his head. He could bring back that hair. I'm telling you.
To strike out on his own.
I walked out with the team and I set up trading machines. It was 2007.
Unless he has alopecia, but that doesn't look like alopecia.
It was designed to be, a Ferrari, but an independent Ferrari. To me, for me, what was really a dream was to be independent. I didn't realize it was going to turn into an odyssey.
Bodek leaves UBS at a time when the stock markets in the USA and Europe are changing dramatically. Part of this is due to the high-frequency traders. The large investment funds are angered by the fact that the small, flexible, high-speed traders are constantly snapping at their heels. The banks begin to set up internal exchanges which allow trades to take place in secrecy. More than 40 of these so-called dark pools are established as alternatives to the 13 regular stock exchanges in the USA alone. The movement of investors into the dark pools forces the stock markets to cater to the high-frequency traders, and they soon make up the majority of trades. Some estimates put the number as high as 70%. Before long, the banks themselves cannot resist the temptation of the high-frequency money and open up the dark pools to high-frequency trading. Speed is all important.
On s'est approché de la vitesse de la lumière. On est aujourd'hui à environ 10 microsecondes au-dessus de la vitesse de la lumière.
10 micros. Whoa.
We launched right before the financial crisis. We launched basically into it. We traded through it. We scaled out all of our algorithms and memberships on major exchanges. Pretty much hit what I call full footprint. And we went to 0.5% US market share pretty much overnight. And things were going very well until May 2009 when things mysteriously stopped working.
I moved to New York around the same time, right? I don't know if it happened before or after, but it's a pretty rough time.
We built a system that would basically measure that the trades that we intended to do were in fact profitable and that were the trades that the machine should be doing. Over the period of 2009, I started seeing changes. The stock trading that we did changed quite a bit over that period of time. And what happened was I kind of bought into what I think of now as a myth, where people say, oh, that exchange is toxic. Without, that's just kind of a blanket term, right? I'm getting screwed on that exchange. That's what being toxic means. So what was happening is I would keep redirecting our trading towards the exchanges that were less toxic, and then there were none. So the last exchange that was toxic was Direct Edge. In May of 2009, I was away from the office and for a week, and I came back, and there was this dramatic change that was so severe that it basically took the business from modestly profitable to flat.
In order to confront the problem, Haim Bodek immediately buys faster connections and price feeds. He optimizes his codes, but the problems increase. He watches powerlessly as the blood drains out of his company. Facing bankruptcy, Haim Bodek encounters a drunk Direct Edge salesman at a party.
He just told me, and he outlined 3 major abuses. I got interested, and I remember taking out a napkin. I don't know where we found the pen or something, but I wish I had this napkin. So I'm like, what? Do you mean it works like this? And he explained to me these very, very sophisticated abuses. And he said to me that they built all this stuff to attract high-frequency traders, but they hadn't done a good enough job. So now they were going to make new high-frequency traders, and I was invited in the club to become a new abuser. I wish I had this napkin. So I'm like, what? Do you mean it works like this? And he explained to me these very, very sophisticated abuses. And he said to me that they built all this stuff to attract high-frequency traders, but they hadn't done a good enough job. So now they were going to make new high-frequency traders, and I was invited in the club to become a new abuser. It was 20 minutes of work to fix these problems that I've been chasing for half a year, and this guy could have just told me half a year ago. And if he had told me much earlier, it probably wouldn't have crossed my mind how wrong it was. But I was so angry. It was very clear to me that you either used the cheats or you were a victim. It was designed. There was no middle ground. You could not be innocent.
Once Bodek discovers the reason for his company's failure, he embarks on a last-ditch attempt to save it. However, he is too late. Trading Machines enters bankruptcy during the turbulence of 2010 and 2011. For the first time, Haim Bodek is forced to confront the realities of high-frequency trading.
Do
you think the high-frequency trading industry wants to say, well, we're using undocumented special order types and an obscure exemption in regulation NMS to get to the top of the queue? No, they're going to tell you they're faster than you. And that was, that's the false flag, let's say, or I don't know what the right term is, but the red herring. Speed is a red herring for a lot of tricks that my industry has developed to get ahead of other people.
The activities of the high-frequency traders remain hidden from view for a long time. In 2010, something happens that suddenly lifts the veil. At 2:32 p.m. on the 6th of May 2010, the US financial planning company Waddell & Reed places a huge buying order for forward contracts valued at $4.1 billion, using an automated execution algorithm. It is a huge order and extremely promising for high-frequency traders. The money bots immediately begin to buy and sell. At lightning speeds and without letting up, share prices immediately begin to collapse. Approximately 3.5 million shares are affected, and more than 200 companies lose their entire share value in the matter of minutes. Nobody knows what is happening. Begin to buy and sell. At lightning speeds and without letting up, share prices immediately begin to collapse. Approximately 3.5 million shares are affected, and more than 200 companies lose their entire share value in the matter of minutes. Nobody knows what is happening. 13 minutes later, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is forced to stop trading. So much liquidity has been sucked out of the market that it's in danger of total collapse. After a break in trading of 5 seconds, the market calms down again. The cause of the events of May 2010 is never fully resolved. Experts assume that the collapse began at precisely 2:42 p.m. and 44 seconds, when the money bots had bought up the maximum permissible number of contracts and simultaneously had to change their position. A digital stampede, which caused the market to implode. The stock exchanges immediately questioned the veracity of this explanation. Instead, 5 years later, a lone trader in the UK is convicted of having destabilized the stock market from his basement. This scapegoat allows the exchanges, banks, and high-frequency traders to continue playing their game. In 2013, another crash is caused by a fake tweet. Syrian hackers successfully used the Associated Press account to fake a terrorist attack on Barack Obama. Just one fabricated report is enough to cause turbulence in the financial markets. Once again, the severity of the event is soon brushed aside. Part of the reason would appear to be that nobody really knows why the markets are increasingly acting strangely. The largest flash crash to date happens on the 5th of February 2018. Its impact is felt around the globe.
Man weiß es bis heute nicht ganz sicher, aber es gibt einen Verdacht, und zwar hat sich kurz nach diesem Flash Crash 2018 ein Whistleblower zu Wort gemeldet und der hat den Banken Manipulationen vorgeworfen. Er hat gesagt, er wurde bewusst manipuliert, um diesen Flash Crash herbeizuführen.
Dwayne Farmer's journey from the casinos to Los Alamos and on to Wall Street eventually takes him to Oxford, where he now studies stability in complex systems like the financial markets.
I think part of what happens in flash crashes, though we haven't gotten bottom flash crashes as well as we should, there are algorithms running and they're just reflexively doing something and they go on right on doing it, even though it would be better to stop. Because that's what they're programmed to do and they don't have time to think about it any more than that. Running a trading system that literally cares about microseconds, that means you have to write code that's extremely spare. Your signal hits your machine can most run a few lines of code and then it has to make a trade. You have to do everything super quick, you can't think about it very much. When I say you, I mean the machine can't think about it very much. I do think we have to worry that as markets go faster and faster, we're opening up the possibility for instability as a result of the collective interaction of high-frequency traders with other parts of the market. And we're doing that for no useful purpose. It'd be one thing if we were taking these risks because it gave us something that was valuable. It doesn't give us anything valuable. It just makes a few people rich. And they get rich in a crazy way. They get rich by, co-locating servers next to the stock exchange and writing algorithms that trade on the instantaneous glitches of the under-order-sitting markets.
Critics of high-frequency trading have spent years in Brussels trying to achieve EU-wide regulation. The privatization of markets, encouraged by the EU's 2004 MiFID I directive, results in stock exchanges having to look for new clients, as similar regulations did in the USA. As a result, high-frequency trading gains an increasing foothold in Europe's markets. Regulations pertaining to high-frequency trading that were passed by the EU Parliament are overturned at the last possible moment by the finance ministers in the Council of the European Union.
Bei der MiFID ging es um eine Reform der Regulierung der Finanzmärkte. Wenige Jahre vorher, 2004, 2007 dann in Kraft getreten, hat es schon mal eine Regulierung gegeben, die dann zu der Krise beigetragen hat, mehr oder minder stark. Und deshalb hat man sich 2012 entschieden, 2012, 2013, diese Regulierung der Finanzmärkte zu re-regulieren und einer kritischen Revision zu unterziehen. Dabei hat besonders der Hochfrequenzhandel eine Rolle gespielt. Der war, als die erste MiFID gemacht wurde, kaum bekannt.
The EU Parliament agrees on a holding period of 0.5 seconds and a cancellation fee designed to restrict high-speed trading.
Slavery.
Das ist dann aber, ich sag's mal so ganz deutlich, kläglich gescheitert. Die Mitgliedstaaten hatten halt durchgehend das Interesse, also die großen Finanzplätze natürlich London, Luxemburg spielt eine Rolle, Paris spielt eine Rolle, Frankfurt spielt eine Rolle. Also in diesen finanzpolitisch bedeutenden Ländern hat man schon ein Interesse gehabt, die Liberalisierungen, die mit der ersten MiFID gekommen sind, möglichst nicht zurückzunehmen. Und natürlich haben sich die Vertreter des Hochfrequenzhandels bewährt gegen diese Regulierung, das ist völlig klar. Und sie haben, das ist meine Beobachtung im Parlament gewesen, einen einfacheren Zugang zu den Regierungen der Mitgliedstaaten, wenn sich dann die Interessen der Lobbyisten des Hochfrequenzhandels mit den Finanzmarktüberlegungen und Planungen der Mitgliedsregierungen der Mitgliedsländer treffen. Dann kriegt man relativ schnell die Regierung der Mitgliedsländer auf seine Seite gezogen. Das ist offensichtlich im Hintergrund passiert. Und das hat dazu geführt, dass der Rat also gerade diesen Part der Regulierung der MiFID einfach abgeblockt hat.
At national levels, the problems are very similar. In Germany, for example, an effective solution seems a long way off. It is a worrying sign that it's not even possible to say which German companies engage in high-frequency trading and how much money they earn. As far as Gerhard Schick is concerned, high-frequency trading is merely a symptom of a far greater problem.
Die Finanzdienstleistungen sind ja eigentlich ein Unterpunkt von den Dienstleistungen, aber es gibt einen relevanten Unterschied nochmal, dass eben die Sphäre des Geldes eine ist, die indirekter Unterstützung leistet. Diese Dienstleistungsfunktion ist eben inzwischen in der Finanzwirtschaft nur noch ein kleiner Teil der Aktivitäten. Der größere Teil ist eigentlich ein innerfinanzwirtschaftliches Geld mit Geld verdienen, wo dann häufig die Auswirkungen auf die Realwirtschaft eigentlich negativer Natur sind. Ein Großteil der Finanzwirtschaft hat gar keinen Bezug mehr zur Realwirtschaft. Aber umgekehrt aus der realwirtschaftlichen Perspektive muss man sagen, dass die letzten Wirtschaftskrisen eigentlich alle durch Finanzentwicklungen ausgelöst worden sind. Insofern ist eine stabile Finanzwirtschaft eine Voraussetzung für eine stabile realwirtschaftliche Entwicklung.
In 2012, the same year that the EU starts working on the MiFID II directive, Chaim Bodek becomes a whistleblower in the USA. He is met with powerful opposition, and the bankruptcy of his company affects him deeply.
To me, it's not about, the possessions, right? And the status symbols to me, at first I rejected them, but then I realized at some point that you literally get paid, in that you get more opportunity, you get bigger bonuses if you want a boat, right? They tune your compensation, what they expect your demands are. That's how this business works. It's very, very difficult to play the Wall Street game and be modest. You are not rewarded for modesty. Now, I will say, after a long period in the business, it did start to corrupt me. And the whistleblowing was an amazing experience because I didn't think I had been corrupted by the business. And
Probably have the freedom to focus more on his personal life, but I'll just focus more on my personal life. Family, hobbies, healthy things. Yoga, the gym.
I will tell you, one of the first times I realized that I was when I had to mow my own lawn. I live in a neighborhood where people don't mow their own lawns. So if you go out and mow your own lawn, it's noticed. And I will say that shedding that was liberating.
And that's when the tatted up guy with the joint is like, and the full head of hair, and his family is like, yeah, I was bored. It had to get done. That was it.
It took a lot longer than I thought. It's disturbing how much those symbols of status and wealth become, essential to people feeling self-worth.
But hey, if you have a lawnmower, you have more time to go fishing, I guess. Even though that's only, those are two different tasks.
Most of the retaliation was done through the industry quietly. And you know, it was a kind of a strange mix in that the people who were least supportive were the victims. It was completely confusing. I thought that what I did was providing information that would balance things and kind of repair the industry. But the victims were basically embarrassed. What investment bank wants to admit it's been routing orders that have been abused for like 5 years by exchanges and high-frequency traders? What pension fund wants to admit that? Right. So I didn't get the love from that side of the fence. But what was very strange is I got a lot of attention from the high-frequency traders, especially the high-frequency trading executives, who kept trying to reel me back. I will say that the process made me respect the bad guys way more than the rest of the industry, because they were actually right about the risks. They were right about the regulatory response. They pushed things to a level where they could manage it, and they didn't go beyond it. There was one president of a large high-frequency trading firm that had multiple percent market share, 4% market share, and he told me, he says, even if you tell everybody what we're doing, the buy side is so lazy. They won't read anything, they won't understand anything, they just won't do the work. You could just put it all out on a map, and nothing will change. And I said to him, so we'll see about that. So a year later, I'm at a conference where I debated him. And after the conference, I said, you were totally right. I put it all out there. And it went whoosh, over everyone's head. I was like, there's I think, over 500 pages in the Federal Register of changes and documentation on features of exchanges. Its entire purpose was to level the playing field. And I think the only people who really read it were the high-frequency traders.
Le trading haute fréquence est effectivement un symbole du remplacement de l'homme par la machine. Il me semble que c'est un cas où la machine est beaucoup plus honnête que l'homme. Beaucoup plus honnête que l'homme. La machine a des règles qu'elle suit.
So when I got into this business, I thought the whole point was to replace the old boys club, to get rid of it. And what I learned after 20 years is what we ended up doing. So we automated the old boys club. It's alive, it's thriving, it's in the algos.
That's it. Alright. Let's end this video with a weekly outlook. Okay. Gold. And that's like coming towards the end of March. So ideally, hopefully we hit our retest for the year. And so we go back up to weekly. 2024. For January, yeah. Soon new high connect. So all long-term investors, good time to buy right now. And then, so looking for, there's that whole BRICS thing, but I don't really believe that can bring us down any lower than our progress. NASDAQ weeks should generally the same. I mean S&P, yeah. Because after the first 100 companies, these are like just kind of the repeat companies, right? Smaller versions, not necessarily SBAs because they're publicly traded. Actually, let's look that up. What was it here? Are SBAs included in what am I doing? Are there any SBAs in what? I gotta pause my game. Sometimes post 500 trading. Large business rather than small business SBAs. Yeah. But a lot of publicly traded companies are suppliers of SBAs, so that's good. And then, tit for tat, right? Lifestyle. So then, so she's looking pretty bullish moving forward. If we retest again, that'd be interesting. So let's go to like our daily outlook. All right, let's do a nice little bull run to here. Not even, it'll be here. Retest yeah, I don't know how to do that. Boom, some time to liquidate some funds, pay some people, handle some business stuff, and then we'll be up again to here. Let's see how long that keeps us covered. That keeps us covered to about the end of March. Okay, so then moving forward from here, we're going to just watch. So this is 4 hour. All right, our daily. Let's see, our daily highs right now in movements is still about I don't know how to do this on the laptop. It should be around 4,000 though. 3,500, 4,000. That's like the higher out level. So now we're gonna go over to 1 hour time frame. Got our momentum, sideways day. Sideways, but does like the half day momentum thing, right? The boom, boom. Momentum, sideways, halfway momentum. So this is like an average day, a low day. Boom, boom. A casual day, another honest day of work type of deal. That's what we look for. That's what those kind of sideways days are. My fam's in the back. So that's for the stock market, and then that's S&P 500 though. Most people over here trade NASDAQ, which looks genuinely the same. I can set this one up for a nice boom, boom, boom. Now using my natty skills, right, my fighting skills, there's a chance it can back down here first, and then we'll go for that average bullish flag up to here. This is like a, you know, casual bullish flag, casual day. Is that 2? 1, 2. I say here. To here. So if I'm not live streaming or going with y'all, ooh, I would see the momentum comes down here first for the next 2 days. Just watch it go sideways. It looks pretty obvious, so like that guy in the video says, some people might be fighting on the contracts, which makes it go sideways, right? And then we'll go up, right? If everyone sees this and we all say bull, 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 you know, could definitely just shoot straight up. But we'll save that for the next flag. So Nasdaq, and then, you know, can't forget time, right? People say gold is bullshit, but I don't like to put gold to the side. Gas is gas with the whole EV thing, and electricity. I'm not even paying attention to that. So gold, right? Robots, longevity, very pure, wear and tear, maintenance, right? Stick to these. So this one, honestly, it's looking quite bullish itself. Let me go this way. Yeah. 2017. Dun, 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 dun. You can keep decent momentum. This is the biggest momentum it went monthly wise. It does show a bearish candle, so, but that was just mainly from this one day, which was right here. Let's see if I can chop it again. Mark that right there. Go to a smaller time frame. See, I marked that. So that all happened within a day, right? No, hold on. H1. No, that happened over 1, 2, almost 2-3 days. So yeah, the retest looks tempting though, but with the sideways movement, enough sideways movement can dodge a retest down, which saves the buyers, right? And gives people a chance to scalp some profits, right? Go back up, scalp some profits, and then everyone else goes up, right? Then for the season, now from here I guess you would check news and stuff, but I always see, you know, bad things when people check news, right? So we'll call that it for today. Same thing, currencies, GBP, can't forget currencies, USD, sideways day, but it still kept the momentum, right, which is here. Yeah, right. It's easy to look at it because we're going back in time, right? I'm looking at it from the past. Right. Some people will say that. That's why some people are gonna say I'm a scam. But there's more to it that I talk about in the Discord. But the biggest hint here, the pinch I will give you is watch the charts, right? Watch the charts. This looks pretty bullish. Daily H4 zoom out. I just keep showing you my desktop. So right now, for like this pair, we're gonna catch the momentum coming up soon of it going down more, or it just bull running up 50% of this box within the next, that's H4, within the next few days. We'll get that breakout in USD JPY, and then, you know, Sheen. Can't forget Sheen. Let's see what's going on over here. And Timu. See, China's trying to keep that sideways RSI heartbeat structure, but things happen. Boom. It's either a stairway to heaven or a sideways heartbeat. One of the two. Or whatever you call it, subjective. Yeah. All respect. So ideally you're gonna think, oh, it's going down, but I would say forward is hesitation, then we could break out there, boom. Oh, it won't be that straight downward considering it's China. There, boom. All right, next, out in London. So let's get JPY. Let's check the strategy for day trading then. It's been having some pretty decent volume jumps. won't let me measure for some reason. Oh, I guess, yeah, this doesn't look like a bad pair. It's more like depends on your personal schedule with family, work, jobs, lifestyle. And then who else? There's just one guy in the group chat, bro. Oh, near lobster, yeah. Near lobster, where he at? I like to test my strategies during sideways times. Because that's when you lock in, you know? That's like the trenches. All right, that's it. May I surprise y'all with a live stream throughout the week. Check my socials for any posts, and see you next stream.